Welcome back to a very special World Cup themed episode of The Boys A Bit Special, the series spotlighting the best young players that men's football has to offer. Here at 442 HQ, we are bristling with excitement for the first Summer World Cup in nearly a decade. It's been a long 8 years. You don't want to know what I looked like at Russia 2018. Trust me, it was a different time. This year's is the biggest World Cup ever, featuring 12 groups, so we've gone and picked one Wonderkid from each for you to keep an eye on throughout the tournament. Let's get cracking.
Here's the shot!
Gilberto Mora is the youngest player at the 2026 World Cup. Gilberto Mora is the Mexican top flight's youngest ever player. Gilberto Mora is Liga MX's youngest ever goalscorer. Gilberto Mora is the national team's youngest ever debutant. You get the picture. Mora is a little attacker from Tijuana, and he's been tearing it up for the Liga MX club despite only recently turning 17. He is the epitome of the phrase, it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. Fitting then that Tijuana have a Chihuahua on their badge, and Mora is about 5'6" tall. Mora was one of the stars of last year's Under-20 World Cup. He managed an assist in Mexico's opener against Brazil, bagged a brace versus Spain, scored the only goal of the game against eventual winners Morocco, and added another assist against Chile in the knockouts. So you could say he's got tournament pedigree. Oh, and by the way, he did all of that at 16 in an Under-20 tournament. Considering the strength, or lack thereof, of Mexico's World Cup group, which includes South Africa, South Korea and the Czech Republic, there's a real chance he can make waves on the big stage this summer.
Manzambi fancies the shot, and what a goal that is!
Johan Manzambi has possibly the best name at the 2026 World Cup, and he's worth getting to know for several reasons, not least because one day he'll probably arrive in the Premier League. The Swiss midfielder is a do-it-all sort of player, and that's why he's the youngest member of Murat Yakin's squad this summer by a clear 2 years. Born in Geneva to parents from Angola and DR Congo, Manzambi is an energetic, dynamic player suited to transitional football. The 20-year-old scores goals, creates chances, wins fouls and headers, and loves beating his opponent on the dribble. This season he went all the way to the Europa League final with Freiburg, so Aston Villa fans, you might have some memory of him. He's much more ostentatious in style than his steady, unspectacular international teammates. Something of a why not have your cake and eat it too type player. He'll crash the box at one end and recover possession at the other. His entire game is underpinned by this tremendous engine of his. Manzambi is an anomaly with all the tools to enjoy a breakout tournament that will surely see him take up residency on the transfer shortlists of Europe's leading sporting directors, if he hasn't done so already.
For Doak to finish things off surely.
𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫 who's still only 20 years old. He's a brilliant wee talent, and for a country like Scotland that's struggled to produce top-class wingers in the past few decades, he's a breath of fresh Highland air. Kenan Doak is an excellent dribbler first and foremost. That's the bread and butter, the meat and tatties of his game. Get him one-on-one with a flat-footed fullback and it's see you later, pal. When he was on loan at Middlesbrough the season before last, Kenan Doak was arguably the Championship's most dangerous right winger. So much so that Bournemouth shelled out £20 million to bring him to the South Coast. It's unfortunate then that he spent most of this season out injured with a hamstring problem, but his greatest contribution of 2025-26 has written him into Scottish folklore by helping put Scott McTominay's overhead kick against Denmark on a Scottish banknote. Yep, that looping ball into the box, which set Scotland on their way to the World Cup, was delivered by Kenan Doak. Roll the tape.
Danes have contrived to give it away again. It is Kenan Doak with the tricks and McTominay!
We could have quite easily suggested that Group D's wonderkid to watch is Real Madrid attacker 𝗕𝗓𝙍𝗀. That would be cheating. Everybody knows about him. He plays for Real Madrid and he does outrageous stuff for Real Madrid. We've picked a player from a little-known club instead. Juventus in Italy, Serie A. Never heard of them. Kenan Yildiz has racked up over 130 games and 27 goals for Juve, and he's only just turned 21. He's got 28 caps for Turkey as well, so safe to say he's quite good. Yildiz was born in Germany and spent 10 years with Bayern Munich, and there's a certain Germanness to his game. He's a tall, slender attacking midfielder who typically plays off the left, robust in the challenge and carries the ball well through the thirds. He is a picture of German efficiency. While still a teenager, Yildiz was given the number 10 shirt at Juventus and broke Alessandro Del Piero's record as the club's youngest Champions League goalscorer, quite fittingly with a very Del Piero-esque finish. Quite important from a World Cup perspective is his big game mentality. He turns up. At the Club World Cup last summer, he scored 3 and assisted twice in 4 games. This past season, he scored and assisted against eventual champions Inter Milan in a 4-3 win, scored home and away versus Napoli, and scored 3 goals in 7 appearances during Turkey's World Cup qualifying campaign.
What magic can he produce here? Still going, Diomande!
𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓 is the player everybody wants to sign this summer. A big World Cup for Ivory Coast could tack on an extra 10 or even 20 million to the price tag RB Leipzig end up receiving. He also has one of the most unique origin stories at this summer's tournament. Diomande moved to the United States at a young age, attending high school and eventually winning a football scholarship near Daytona Beach, Florida. Diomande then initially went on trial at Scottish Premier League club Rangers, as teams in Europe began to take note of this high schooler, but he was eventually given a chance in the professional game by Spanish side Leganés, officially joining the club in January 2025. From there he appeared for Leganés' B team in the 5th tier, but before long was drafted into the senior setup. Then, after only 10 first-team appearances, Diomande's release clause was met by those noted talent finders Leipzig, who had no qualms paying €20 million for a player with no experience of a top-level academy and less than 600 senior minutes. Diomande is a winger who can operate from either flank, but more recently has found his shooting boots off the right. His ball carrying is devastating, and coupled with good balance and ability to shoot off both feet, Ivory Coast have potentially this World Cup's breakout star at their disposal. Since arriving in Germany, Diomande has gone from strength to strength, proving shrewd business and a player who will turn a profit, probably this summer, especially if Liverpool or PSG have anything to do with it. Group F sees Japan, the Netherlands and Sweden do battle, but it's from Tunisia that we've picked our Wonderkid to watch. I know, really left field, 4-4-2, just trying to be a bit different. Well, actually no, not really. The other teams haven't really gone with Wonderkids, so consider those managers' cards marked. 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓𝗏 is the Tunisian we're hoping to see shine in the States, and he's got the tools to do so. A Parisian by birth, eligible to represent France and Spain, Garby switched nationalities throughout his youth and then finally chose to play for Tunisia. He's a flighty attacking midfielder, good on the ball as you might expect, and as a graduate of PSG's academy setup, has quote-unquote got a bit. Born in Brussels to a Spanish father and an Italian mother, 21-year-old 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗏 Fernandez-Pardo is eligible for 3 nations, although only 2 of those will be at the World Cup. Sorry, Italians. He officially switched allegiances to Spain in 2025 after playing for Belgium's youth teams, but was never capped for Spain at any level, never mind the senior team. This allowed FIFA to approve Fernandez-Pardo's switch back to Belgium in May this year, just weeks before the World Cup squad was announced. Cheeky so-and-so, a real modern-day Alfredo Di Stefano. Fernandez-Pardo burst onto the scene for Ghent in Belgium when he was a teenager, scoring 7 in 10 in the end-of-season playoffs, and subsequently earned a move to Lille, just over the border. Just so happened to be the same club he'd actually left as a 15-year-old. Video aside for a second, here's a hypothetical question for you. Imagine you're on your holidays during the World Cup, or travelling somewhere for work and you can't get your World Cup fix. You've got your TV licence sorted to watch the BBC coverage in the UK, but not abroad, so what do? Well, our office friends at Tom's Guide have the answer, because they've tested a wide range of VPNs, and NordVPN stands out as a strong option. Fast, reliable, and it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, enough to cover the entire World Cup, so you can try it risk-free. The best bit? For all FourFourTwo viewers, there's an exclusive offer available. All you have to do is click the link in the description to learn more. Okay, I've got a confession. Technically, I lied to you in the introduction to this video. We don't have a Wonderkid from each group, but it's because everybody already knows about Group H's one to watch. Lamine Yamal is the one to watch because you won't be able to take your eyes off him, and we can't, in good conscience, describe him as such. This is FourFourTwo. We're at the forefront of niche football knowledge, for crying out loud. Yes, of course, we could spotlight Pau Cubarsí in the Spain squad instead. We have actually, in a previous Boys A Bit special video, which you should definitely check out. As for Uruguay, Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia, the other teams in this group, we think they've forgotten what a Wonderkid is. Boring.
Ibrahim Mbaye! Ah oui! Le coup du spectacle, il est là!
At 18 years old, he's one of the youngest players at the 2026 World Cup, cementing his place in Pape Thiaw's thinking with a goal and assist for Senegal during the most recent international break. When Senegal take to the field for their tournament opener, it'll have been just 8 months since Mbaye's international debut, which indicates how quickly he's developed and become an important player for the country he's chosen to represent. Mbaye has the raw speed, physicality and natural finishing ability to be a threat on the counter as well as breaking beyond the last line of defence, especially when space is at a premium. Understandably, given his age, Mbaye's minutes for the European champions have been limited, and international outings have predominantly been from the bench too. Still, he's managed 8 goal contributions for Senegal in his first 10 caps to date, and his participation will make for an interesting story if Senegal repeat their 2002 World Cup heroics by shocking Les Bleus, considering Mbaye was born in France and represented the country from under 16 all the way up to under 20.
Nico Paz! Oh my goodness!
Nico Paz was one of Serie A's best players this season, arguably the best, and he needed to be to break into the World Cup holders squad. Paz was integral in helping the team qualify for next season's Champions League and, according to reports, wants to remain at Como for another season, before then returning to what is effectively his parent club, Real Madrid. Smart lad. Real have a buyback clause of about 10 million, which remains valid this summer and next, so there's no rush, and it goes without saying, one hell of a bargain. Nico will be keen to get on the pitch at the World Cup though, if only to surpass dad Pablo Paz's record of 1 appearance at the finals, which came at World Cup '98. 𝗕𝗫𝗍𝗍𝗍 had a very accomplished first season in the Premier League for a very accomplished Sunderland side following their promotion from the Championship. Signed last summer from Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgium, Sadiki proved a reliable operator in the Black Cats midfield. And while he wasn't on Weah's side, he was helping DR Congo qualify for a first World Cup, since they were known as Zaire way back in 1974. It'll be some ask getting out of a group which includes both Portugal and Colombia, but if he manages to exhibit that familiar steeliness as shown at the Stadium of Light, DR Congo's hopes of making it to the knockouts are in good hands. 6 months ago, Mainoo had probably already kissed goodbye to his hopes of playing at the World Cup. He was out of the team at Manchester United, out of practice, and whenever he did play under Ruben Amorim, out of form. Despite all that, Thomas Tuchel had his back. He did exactly what he needed to do once he was reintegrated under Michael Carrick, and now, 2 years on from his appearance in the final at Euro 2024, Mainoo is back in the England squad, seemingly for good. The 21-year-old has made the cut ahead of some big absentees, which alone will make him an interesting watch at this summer's tournament. How England's midfield functions under the stresses and strains of a North American summer, as well as the suffocating expectation, sometimes brought on by the media, will hinge upon the performances of Mainoo and his peers. We can't wait to see what he's got in store. Remember to subscribe to FourFourTwo for all your World Cup needs this summer. Just click that button just here.